In this movie, Seo-yeon returns to her childhood village and discovers unsettling mysteries in her old house. After losing her phone, she finds a hidden room with a diary and a photo from 1999. As she investigates, Seo-yeon receives calls from a woman who seems to be stuck in another time. Can Seo-yeon solve the mystery of these calls and save her family? At the start of the movie, Seo-yeon arrived in the village where she lived as a child. Sung-ho picked her up to take her to her house. During the drive, he asked if she had visited her sick mother in the hospital. Seo-yeon didn't answer because she had just realized she lost her phone at the station and was worried. When she got to her house, she discovered her phone was lost during the move. Seo-yeon found a cordless phone, plugged it in, and called her mobile number. A man answered and said he had her phone and wanted money to return it. Then he hung up. Soon after, the phone rang again. Seo-yeon answered and heard a woman who thought she was calling someone else. The woman said Seo-yeon's mother was crazy and hung up when she realized she had dialed the wrong number. Later, Seo-yeon went to her mother's doctor, who said her mother had a brain tumor that could be removed, but the surgery was complicated and needed a specialist. Seo-yeon visited her mother in the hospital, where her mother asked to be buried next to her father. Seo-yeon was very upset by this and left the room angrily. She went to her father's grave and saw he had died in 1999. Back home, she got another mysterious phone call. She thought it was her friend Sun-hee and told the caller that her mother wanted to kill her and asked her to come quickly. She gave her home address, but soon realized it was the wrong number. The caller said this was not Sun-hee's number. Seo-yeon said no, and the caller got angry, and the girl angrily accused her of doing it on purpose before ending the call. Seo-yeon realized that the woman who called her claimed to be from her address. That night, she was startled by a loud noise and found a photo had fallen from its frame. While trying to hang it back up, she discovered that the wall was fake and hid another room behind it. She broke through the wall and entered the hidden room with a flashlight. Inside, she found a box with various items, including a girl's diary. When she flipped through the diary, a photo of the girl fell out. Seo-yeon showed the photo to Sung-ho, who recognized her as Young-suk. He told her the house had once belonged to his stepmother, who was a shaman, but he said he couldn't remember more details. Seo-yeon noticed that the photo was dated 1999. On her way home, she passed a store named Sun-hee, which matched the name mentioned by the caller. That night, she got another call from the woman, who was screaming before being pulled away by Seo-yeon's stepmother. Her mother tried to burn her, causing a struggle that set the hidden room on fire. Seo-yeon saw smoke and flames through the hole in the wall. Later, the phone rang again, and Seo-yeon told the woman she knew she was Young-suk and had found her photo from November 26, 1999. Young-suk mentioned that it was only the 18th, so Seo-yeon read a passage from her journal from the previous day. She compared her notes and confirmed they matched, which frightened Young-suk. Seo-yeon, realizing it might seem unbelievable, explained her theory. They were both living in the same house but in different times. To support her theory, Seo-yeon found a newspaper article from November 18th and advised Young-suk to watch the news that night for a report on a plane crash. That evening, Young-suk had dinner with her mother, who threatened to send her back to the institution if she didn't eat. She reluctantly complied. After upsetting her mother, Young-suk saw the plane crash report on TV and called Seo-yeon again. They spoke as Seo-yeon shared information about the future, including updates about Young-suk's favorite musician and new technology that seemed impossible in 1999. When Young-suk revealed that her biological mother had died and that the woman torturing her was her stepmother, Seo-yeon told her about her own father's death. Her father had died in a house fire caused by her mother accidentally leaving the gas on. On November 21, 1999, Seo-yeon and her family visited Young-suk's house to consider buying it. At that time, her father was still alive. Young Seo-yeon ran upstairs, and they found Young-suk's room. They asked her stepmother to open the door. When Young-suk saw who was at the door, she called older Seo-yeon and let her listen to her father's voice. It was a deeply emotional moment for Seo-yeon, who had not heard his voice in 20 years. Young-suk decided to try to save Seo-yeon's father from the fire herself. On November 27th, the day Seo-yeon's father was supposed to die, Young-suk escaped from her stepmother and traveled to Seo-yeon's old house. Younger Seo-yeon was watching TV, while her mother painted her nails and lunch cooked on the stove. Later, after Seo-yeon's mother left the house, Young-suk stole the key while Seo-yeon played with her father. Young-suk entered the house as the fire began. In the present, Seo-yeon got her cell phone back, and the burn scar on her leg vanished. Suddenly, her house and her surroundings started changing. Seo-yeon went downstairs and out of the house, discovering a beautiful glass house garden. Inside, she first saw her mother and then her father. Overwhelmed with emotion, Seo-yeon cried and hugged her father, which confused her parents. Later, Seo-yeon called Young-suk to express her gratitude. She spent time with her parents and shared new music with Young-suk over the phone. They continued to grow closer through their conversations. One day, Seo-yeon couldn't answer Young-suk's calls because she was with her parents. Young-suk became upset and frustrated when Seo-yeon didn't return her calls. When they finally spoke again, it became clear that Young-suk wasn't well. Seo-yeon heard screams on the phone, followed by Young-suk's stepmother's voice, threatening harm if Seo-yeon didn't stay away. In the past, Young-suk's stepmother was performing an exorcism on her, believing it would help. Young-suk begged her to stop, while the stepmother beat her and chanted over her. Later, the stepmother went to Sun-hee's store and noticed Young-suk had been there, seeing the wound on her leg. In the present, Seo-yeon searched online for Young-suk, but found nothing on social media. She then looked up Young-suk's address and read a news report about her death during an exorcism conducted by her stepmother. Young-suk called Seo-yeon, and Seo-yeon warned her that she felt she might die that night. Her stepmother then took a knife from the aquarium and headed upstairs. She grimaced as she swung the knife and started stabbing the bed, believing Young-suk was asleep there. To her shock, Young-suk wasn't in the bed. The stepmother was horrified as Young-suk laughed at her, then grabbed the fire extinguisher to disable her. Young-suk found the knife in the dimly lit room, confronted her stepmother and killed her, relishing the taste of blood. Afterward, Young-suk called Seo-yeon, who had been anxiously waiting by the phone and felt relieved to hear Young-suk was okay. Young-suk also mentioned she felt like she was reborn. In the next scene, Young-suk was seen outside the house, joyful and free. She first enjoyed a meal she liked, and then bought new clothes. In the present, Seo-yeon welcomed Sung-ho into their home as he delivered strawberries. Everyone was excited about the fruit and thanked Sung-ho. In the past, Sung-ho made a delivery to the house and Young-suk answered the door. She proudly showed off her new clothes and invited him inside. When Sung-ho asked about her mother, Young-suk was more interested in which of her new items he liked. She left him alone in the den to find more of her new purchases. Meanwhile, Sung-ho went to the kitchen to store the strawberries and found several foul-smelling black plastic bags in the fridge. As he moved one to make space, he accidentally dropped it and upon picking it up discovered it was filled with body parts. Panicking, he was found by Young-suk in the basement, who was now wearing a different outfit she wanted to show him. Angry that he had opened the bag, she went to get the fire extinguisher, while Sung-ho, bewildered, remained in the kitchen. Back in the present, Seo-yeon's family enjoyed tea with Sung-ho and his little dog, engaging in pleasant conversation and savoring some of the strawberries. The phone rang, and Seo-yeon answered it from her room. She heard Sung-ho crying from the past, and Young-suk swearing about ruining her new clothes. Suddenly the call ended. Feeling uneasy about the conversation, Seo-yeon went downstairs and discovered that Sung-ho was no longer there. In fact, he had never been there, and her parents had no knowledge of him. She checked the refrigerator and then went to his strawberry farm, finding it empty and abandoned. Seo-yeon visited the village police station to inquire about him. The younger officer hadn't heard of him or his farm, but the older officer had. The older officer asked why she was inquiring about someone who had been dead for 20 years, which startled her. He took her to the back and showed her his notes, revealing that Sung-ho had been murdered by Young-suk at her home. The police had previously visited Young-suk in the past, asking about Sung-ho before they knew she was the killer. She tried to deny knowing him, but the older officer, who had spoken to Seo-yeon in the future, noticed inconsistencies in her answers. Young-suk claimed she didn't know him, and that her mother could confirm whether she had seen him. The officer noticed the strawberry delivery in the house, which contradicted her story. Despite her attempts to lie, the officer took notes, making her anxious. Young-suk mentioned something about a murder in the village, but the officer, though suspicious, left her house. Seo-yeon then went to speak with Sun-hee, the shop owner, to find out what had really happened to Young-suk and her stepmother. Sun-hee recounted that she had thought Young-suk was a well-behaved girl who would listen to her talk about her husband for hours. Sometimes Young-suk would sneak snacks into her room. However, one day Young-suk severely hurt her. Sun-hee stated that if it hadn't been for Young-suk's stepmother, she would have been killed. Later, Young-suk called Seo-yeon while she was defrosting body parts from her fridge. Seo-yeon answered and immediately asked if Young-suk had killed Sung-ho. Young-suk denied it, so Seo-yeon read her a newspaper headline about the day she was arrested as a serial killer and sentenced to life in prison. Hearing about the life sentence, Young-suk gave up her pretense and admitted to killing Sung-ho. She then asked Seo-yeon how the police had found out about her crime, and demanded that Seo-yeon help her figure it out to avoid being caught. Young-suk was furious when Seo-yeon kept hanging up on her. Seo-yeon was scared and unable to respond, while Young-suk continued to call her angrily. In 1999, the police investigated Young-suk, noting her mental health issues. As Young-suk kept trying to reach Seo-yeon in the future, she heard a knock on her door. When she opened it, she saw her younger self with her father. He said they were looking for her stepmother, who was supposed to meet them at the realtor's office. Young-suk invited them in, claiming she must have fallen asleep. In the future, Seo-yeon was with her father, who noticed her distress. He asked her about it and she said she was fine. He then let her drive, advising her to be gentle with the pedal to avoid spilling coffee, which she successfully did. Back in the past, Young-suk prepared to harm her father, who was in the den with Seo-yeon. As the little girl ate a strawberry, Young-suk approached and sprayed her father with a fire extinguisher. In the present, Seo-yeon drove through a tunnel and watched in horror as her father vanished and the future crumbled around her. A terrified young Seo-yeon saw her father's blood and Young-suk killing him. The older Seo-yeon woke up in the tunnel, missing her father. Young-suk confronted young Seo-yeon, blaming her for her father's death because she didn't answer the phone. Seo-yeon rushed back to her house, finding it in disarray with "Seo-yeon, answer the phone," written in blood on the floor. She answered the phone, and Young-suk taunted her about killing her father, enraging Seo-yeon, who threatened to kill her. Young-suk, however, had the younger Seo-yeon tied up, giving her the upper hand. She gave Seo-yeon 1 hour to figure out how the police would arrest her, or she would harm her mother. Seo-yeon devised a plan to send Young-suk to a place where she had researched an accident would occur, intending to kill her retroactively. Seo-yeon broke into the police station to find out how Young-suk was caught. She learned that Young-suk had found the knife with her prints and used it to kill someone. Seo-yeon also saw new information about her mom searching for her at the police station. The officer helped Seo-yeon's mom find Young-suk's house. Young-suk lied to the police about not knowing Seo-yeon's dad, but was caught when her mom found a clue. Seo-yeon's mom called her daughter's phone by mistake, and Young-suk hit Seo-yeon, breaking the line. Young-suk killed the officer in front of her mom and demanded the phone. Seo-yeon fought with Young-suk for the phone and finally grabbed it. They both chased each other in different times. Seo-yeon's mom hid in the room and found a fire extinguisher. Young-suk tried to get into the room but tricked Seo-yeon's mom. In the past, Seo-yeon's mom fought Young-suk to protect her child, and they both fell over the railing. The older Young-suk disappeared, leaving Seo-yeon alone. Later, Seo-yeon ran to the graveyard thinking her mom was dead, but her mom showed up, and Seo-yeon was relieved and happy to see her alive.